Today I'm going to cover what is called the lighting tool, which is kind of buried in the menu, but this is a before and this is an after, and I'll show you how I did it. I used stock photos as a means of doing my practicing. So if I wanted to go over here to the stock area, so if I typed in lamp and I hit enter, you can use any one of these. You just click and drag and it will bring it into your viewing area. So you're looking at the native photo here. Now, if I wanted to add some type of lighting that I could control, I would go to the live filters, and at the very bottom here you can see one called lighting. If I click on lighting, it pulls up this dialog box and puts on the screen a light, and you can see if I make adjustments with these little dots that it will move the lighting around the screen. So let's go over some of the controls. First of all, if you wanted to move around the light, you would click this center dot and move it around like that. And it doesn't, obviously you can see it doesn't change the angle, but it does move it around the screen. If you move this dot at the vertex in and out, you can see how it's spreading the light. You could also use this inner one here to make the light more diffuse or less diffuse. It's becoming a spotlight. It's basically moving the light from being on a wide angle to almost perpendicular, somewhat like a spotlight. You can move these inner dots and outer dots to change the inner cone or the outer cone. Now, this particular light is a spotlight. So right here are the different kinds of lights. But before we get to that, I want to explain that the top area right here are the controls that will affect any light that you put in this control. For instance, if I change the diffusion, if I change the specular highlights, so forth and so on, it's going to affect all the stuff underneath it. So in this case, it is a spotlight. If I click this and make it a point light, well, it's just a light that has basically acting from that point and emanating outwards. So I can move this circle in and out, and I can make it more concentrated and spread it out like that. So the third one is called directional, and it emanates from the center. You have very little controls. You only can control the angle. Let's go back to the first type of light, which is spot. But I wanted to show you this, that you can change the color. So if I click that and I pick, I don't know, a red color or something like that, or yellow or blue, like that. That color is for that light that I just added. Now watch this. This is interesting. If you look at this area here, you can see that I can add another light. So if I click add, it puts another light in there. I also have controls as to what type of light that is. So it could be a spot. It could be a point light for that second one. So I can move that way over to, let's say, here and reduce it down a bit. So you can see that first light, which is the spotlight, is still there, and the second light is over here. With that, you have other controls that are different from the spotlight. So for instance, if I wanted to go back to the spotlight and click the arrows, click that, and these controls beneath this section here are just for that light. And all of these lights are in this one feature. So if I click on that again, I can go back and control these. I'm going to delete those lights because I wanted to show you how I did the other ones. And if I turn these other ones back on, I'll right click here and show others. So that looks actually very realistic. If there was a light on a table, it would, and it had a shade, it would, there would be light emanating out of the top and out of the bottom, and there would be a hot spot in the center. I should point out also that I should explain what some of them are. The ambient means how much light is going to be added back into the room. So if I take this all the way down, you really only see the light that it is added down here. You can use this to basically spill the light back in from the room. Let's say I wanted to add some color to it. Well, I can go to lighting and I can bring this off and change the color to something like blue. And then I can either add it here or add it with another layer. I can add another light. So I add another light, and let's change that to red. So you can see you can do some really interesting things with lighting when using this tool.